Hey everybody, in a previous video we talked about what our plans were for this 2002 M3 shell, and we talked about getting a 330, and today we went and picked one up. So here is the car. All right, so here is the car. This is a 2001 BMW E46 330 Ci, and to nobody's astonishment, we only have the one key. There are some things that I do want to talk about the car. If you can see there on the top, there is an air filter. We just got that cleaned. That is an AFE filter, and I think it's the AFE intake system for this car specifically. It was pretty dirty, but it looks like we got it cleaned up well enough to use it again, so we're going to be putting some oil on that and then reinstalling it. This is the British Racing Green color of this car. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of this color, but if you're going to do this color, the wheels that we have on here are definitely the way to go. Looks like our key is dead. Looks like something just happened there. I'm not sure what's going on. But okay, cool. So let me open this up here. So there are some gremlins. That's actually the first time I've had any issues with the car electrically, except for the front seat doesn't want to move back. It'll tilt, but it won't move back, which is kind of difficult because Kai and I are fairly tall, so this isn't going to work. It had the beige interior originally, and now it has two black seats. It looks like somebody has put an M steering wheel in there, and then it has a nice shift knob, a couple of Alcantara shift boots, and a brake boot. It has the 330 Ci instrument cluster, which is slightly different than the base model ones, and as you can see down there, it is in fact a manual. It is a 5-speed manual, so all of the stuff that you see right here is basically going to be moved out of the car. We're going to be using the seats, even if it's for just a little bit of time. These do have a lot of bolstering in them compared to just the standard E46 seats. I do have a pair of 325 seats out of the wagon in the backyard, but we won't be using those temporarily. It sounds like we'll be keeping those just put to the side. We were going to, but then this car just happened to come with these. We've got a steering wheel we can use for a little bit, shift knob we can use for a little bit. The interior of the car is really not much to go over. It's got a fair amount of problems, so all of the standard E46 stuff that starts to go bad and get worn out is showing its age here. A lot of the tan interiors get really dirty, so you can see here, and then the wood trim is cracked. So let's go look underneath the engine bay real quick here, because there are some upgrades on this car, and I haven't seen it yet. I want to know what the actual color of this is called, and then I want to show the headlights and taillights as well. So it looks like the color is Farngrün. So I don't know German, but farm green, I'm not sure. So here is the mighty M54B30 engine. It starts and runs, idles perfectly fine. In fact, it starts up very quickly, sounds good, don't have a lot of idling issues. It's a little rough, but I'm pretty sure it's the ICV, so we'll be taking that out, cleaning that. We'll be checking the DESA valve. I did get a code that we've already scanned, so we scanned the codes on it because I was curious to see what it was doing. We have code saying that it's lean bank 1 and 2, which is most likely a vacuum leak, so we're gonna go through and check all the vacuum lines. There's really not that many lines to check, so we'll just replace them because I have extras from doing other BMWs. And then the other thing it was saying was that the secondary air pump, so this is either not working or has a leak itself or something, but those always get deleted. Only other thing that I saw was the car didn't like the fact that this has headers on it, and I'm not gonna be able to show them because they're way down in there. It has aftermarket headers, and it doesn't look like they tuned the car for that. So the O2 sensors are a little wonky because they're trying to figure out why it's running the way it is when nobody told the computer that they've put headers on the car. So they haven't been tuned for that. And then it looks like here we've got these headlights. We'll show the headlights and taillights in just a second because they're the cheaper ones. We've got some fake M3 mirrors. We won't be using those. We'll be using the original M3 mirrors. If you go over here to the back, you can see that it does in fact have an aftermarket exhaust. It's not super loud. This is nice for us. It's all bonus. Here is the taillights. Those are just some eBay, Amazon taillights. And let's get into the trunk here, because we did find some goodies back here. The battery's in good condition, which is nice, because the one in the M3, I'm not sure how healthy that one is. So if we need one, we have one here. If not, I still don't have a battery for my trailer. So whether I use this battery or we take the one out of the M3 and use that in the trailer for the winch that's in there, it works either way. There is no spare tire, which was kind of a disappointment. Yep, nothing in there. I haven't decided if the previous owner purchased these and then realized that these were a pain to put in. These are the ones that sit underneath the intake manifold. You have to take a lot of the engine apart to get at these two hoses here, but that is nice to have both of those. And then we do have a intake boot. So this is the upper intake boot where your F connector goes in there. So that's nice. All these pieces right here, they're about 20 bucks a piece. I'm not sure what this is. It says regulator fix for E46 3 Series. I'm not sure if it's something to do with maybe the window regulator. I'm not sure. I'll do some research. Fun to find toolboxes that are complete, because it shows that the previous owner wasn't in here constantly pulling tools out and losing things, but we are missing a few things here, including a tow hook, but we've got a couple extra ones of those if we need to have the actual OEM BMW ones, which leads us to the tow hook we do have, the cheap eBay ones. You can find those on Amazon as well. Why haven't I talked about the wing yet? Well, you know, if you're gonna get a cheap one, this is probably one of the better ones. You don't have to put holes in your trunk. It actually grabs the side of the trunk. There's set screws in there, and then this is just infinitely adjustable. So as long as you make sure that you're in the middle, there you go. I don't know, if you're gonna do one like that, that's the one to own. Same thing with the wheels. These are probably my favorite style of wheels. I believe these are a style 68. I might be slightly off on that. I know that those are 67s, and that's either a 68. Yeah, if I've got that wrong, just type a really mean comment in the comment section. Now, the problems with the car. Why aren't I out driving it right now? Well, if you start the car and let out on the clutch, it makes a horrible grinding sound, and I'm assuming the clutch is falling apart. It's kind of crazy when the clutch is in, when you have the clutch pedal in, it starts, runs fine, but as soon as you let go of it to engage it even in neutral, it just clonks around and makes a terrible, terrible sound. It doesn't move the car physically, but it makes a very scary sound that I personally have never heard before, but I've also never had a clutch catastrophically fail on me before. And as long as the transmission is fine, which from my research on the sounds that it's making and what it's doing, we're still good on the transmission. That means we have an engine, front subframe, transmission, pedal box, steering wheel, seats, drive shaft, rear diff, and rear subframe. And obviously there's a whole bunch of other goodies on the car. It's got some nice BMW emblems. Those are the newer ones on the wheels, so they're slightly oversized compared to the other E46 emblems. Those are what's on my E46 race car, and those will be moved over to the M3. The other thing that this car is doing is when we push it, it was making a really bad clunky sound, and that's when I got nervous, because we knew that the car didn't run, and when we went to go push it out of the owner's driveway to push it up into the trailer after exchanging money, I heard it clunking underneath, and I was like, oh great, you know, what is that? But the clunking was coming from the back end and not up here. If it was coming from up here, I would assume that alongside the noise that the clutch was making, or what's left of the clutch, and us rolling it, that the transmission is messed up, but it was coming from the back of the car. There is a CV joint in between the drive shaft and the rear diff on this car. I've replaced them before. They're not super difficult. I think I paid like $100 or something like that for mine, but it is completely messed up. So the drive shaft isn't spinning straight. It's kind of going like this. I'm assuming messed up the center drive shaft bearing. If that's probably completely destroyed. We'll be keeping a lot of the car that we know is fairly valuable, things that we know break often. So we'll be stripping the whole car completely down. And then the plan for the body is to either go to a junkyard to be sold for parts somewhere else, or to go to a metal recyclers. They don't give very much money for cars anymore these days, and so we're not sure what we're going to be doing, but it looks like we'll be able to get probably about $100, a couple $100 out of the body. And then it's got really nice tires on it, so the wheels and tires, which we're not going to be using, those will probably either be left together and then sold, or split up and sold separately. But if there's anything you see that you want off of this car, as long as I've kept a hold of it, you can message us on Instagram, Tenza_motorsports, and just say, hey, you know, I saw this part on that car, do you still have it? And if we do, absolutely, we'll ship it out to you, and we'll get something like that set up. So the headlights and taillights are definitely going to go. So if you're interested in those go for $200 a pair. So you got your headlights and your taillights. It's like $400 MSRP. I'm not gonna be selling them for anywhere near that because they're obviously they're used. They're actually in really good condition. I don't know how long they've been on the car, but they're new used. Let's get everybody a sound clip. I'll show what the clutch is sounding like when I let off the clutch pedal, and then we'll wrap up today's video. Alright, so excuse me because this is very tight in this car with the seat that won't move back. I'm going to put in the key here and I want to show what the sound that this car is making. And then if you've heard this before, if you know what it is, then feel free to comment. I've got my foot on the brake and my foot on the clutch. I'm going to let my foot off the clutch very slowly and we should be able to hear that sound. Yeah, sounds pretty bad. I hope the camera picked it up because I'm not doing it again. I'm not sure exactly what's going on underneath there. And the last thing I need to do is damage the actual transmission. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, subscribe if you are new. Lots and lots of content to come. This is another year's worth of work just from the video I showed you today. There's going to be loads of videos, loads of how-tos, and showing what exactly we're replacing, what you should and shouldn't do to your car. And hopefully we can tell you what you shouldn't be doing based on knowledge and not based on experiencing it ourselves. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.
Bam!